Let's talk about the guy that everyone wants to talk about in spring training this year. The guy that a lot of people have their eye on, and where he is at compared to what we saw during 2025, and that was Jac Caglianone. And on Tuesday, he hit a ball 460 feet, 150-mile-an-hour exit velo. I mean, it was a confident swing. It was a big-time swing. It's the kind of stuff we saw from him in spring last year, kind of stuff we saw from him in the minor leagues a lot of last year. That just confident, I'm going to go, you're throwing me a fastball down the middle. Okay, I'm going to go hammer it. And he did. One Royal Way back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, rate, subscribe, review on all platforms. Hit those notification bells so you know when these episodes go live. Second episode this week, recording on Thursday afternoon. If you're listening to this later, we had an episode come out Thursday morning, continuing our series previewing the AL Central. Jeff Ellis from Locked On Guardians joined me to talk about the Cleveland Guardians in their 2026 campaign and expectations and such. It was a really good interview. Jeff's awesome. I've talked to him in the past on other shows. Really knows the stuff. So go check that out. And then we'll have the Twins one should come out early next week. Should be Tuesday potentially. So that'll clear that up, and then we'll just move full steam ahead. All Royals moving forward. This show, as always, brought to you by Emprise Bank, member FDIC. Our partners and possible here at Kansas City Sports Network and on this show. Be sure to check out Kansas City Strength and Conditioning as well. If you have a baseball or softball player in the area looking for a place to train, that's the place to do it in the Kansas City area. We got a few spring training games under our belt now. The Royals are 2-3-1. They tied yesterday with Seattle in a very spring training game. When you think of like a stereotypical spring training game, it kind of was that. It was kind of wacky, wild. Starters did their thing and were pretty good, and then the minor league guys came in and they did minor league guy stuff. Like, that's kind of how it goes. But I'm just happy to see baseball back. And there's some stuff to talk about, and just disclaimer before we move forward. Like, yes, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that's gone on, but we're dealing in 8 to 10 plate appearance samples for some of these guys. Sometimes it's less. We're dealing in an inning or two sample for pitchers. So, like, there's no major overarching huge takeaways to, like, unless you want to be the overreaction guy, and that's just not me. So take what I say with a grain of salt in a lot of these cases, because it's such a small sample in a sport where you need a larger sample to see kind of where things go. We'll hit on some of the guys that have stood out to me, one way or the other over the last few days. But I'm going to start on the injury front. This was announced today because he was supposed to throw on Wednesday during that Seattle game after Noah Cameron with Stephen Kolek. He was in 3 and 4, and then they were going to move on to the minor league guys. He felt some oblique tightness when he was warming up on his left side. Now he is considered day-to-day with a left oblique strain. He's undergoing another scan to determine severity. Hopefully, it's a minor thing. Oblique injuries are very tricky. It is an injury that, for baseball players in general, both pitchers and hitters, that's a really tricky injury. You use those muscles a lot throughout playing baseball, either swinging a bat, throwing a ball. That muscle is involved. So it is kind of tricky, and that is on his front side as a right-handed pitcher. So, as he turns it, that's where that comes into play. It's significant just because you feel like he could be a part of this rotation or this bullpen from opening day, if that's the way that it goes. But this is also where the depth that the Royals have built being incredibly important, and that they've created from within, but also guys that they've brought in that are the non-roster invite guys, the minor league contract guys that can help sustain an injury or two like this and not be like, oh man, the Royals are super thin, they can't afford an injury. Like, if it was going to happen to somebody like that, it's like, okay, that was depth. That wasn't an injury to a, knock on wood, a Noah Cameron or a Cole Reagans or whoever. Like Kolek was probably on the outside looking in anyways, just because he's the organization considers him a starter. Now this opens up an opportunity for Ryan Berger to really solidify himself. He goes on Thursday afternoon for the Royals in their game, which will once again be radio only. But I believe the game's on Friday and Saturday. You'll be able to watch on MLB TV. It won't be the Royals broadcast, but you'll actually be able to watch the game instead of just watching Savant or the MLB Game Day or listen to the radio. So we'll see how long Stephen Kolek is out. Hopefully it is just a couple of weeks and he's able to get back, middle of March, kind of ramp back up. But I imagine this at this point almost solidifies him as a guy that goes to AAA. He has 2 minor league options, so it's not like it's a Bailey Falter situation where it's either you make the big league club or you're gone. Kolek, you can use one of those minor league options. It's why the Royals have liked having a lot of these guys with, depth or with options, which adds to the depth. We'll see over the last week or so that have kind of stood out from a, I'll start with kind of some of the positive or just some of the kind of stuff that caught my eye. One of the things that really caught my eye on the pitching side was Seth Lugo in his first outing of the year against the Cubs on Monday. Again, it's a 2-inning sample, so like take it for what you will. But it was 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 strikeout, no walks. It was the not only the pitch usage, but also the way the stuff was playing that I found interesting. Not a lot of swing and miss, 4 whiffs, but all 4 whiffs came on his slider. And I'm listening, and it's obviously in the middle of my work day as well for my day job, so there's only so much I'm really able to truly pay attention to and drill down on. But as I looked at the Savant data when his innings were over, you see the slider, and it's so metrically different than what he has last year, because on Baseball Savant, it shows, miles per hour plus minus, RPMs plus minus from the previous year. And there's so much data to go off of from there. His slider is up almost 2.5 miles an hour. It averaged almost 85, 86 miles an hour, a little bit less spin, but still, he spins it really well around 2,500 RPM. And so it's almost going for more of a cut than a sweep, if that makes sense. Like he's trying to hold that horizontal plane a little bit more rather than having a ton of dive. That's the way I've understood it, at least. And it's a new pitch, which almost turns it into entirely a new pitch, a new type of slider that Seth Lugo is bringing out here. And this is where, with a guy like this, he's always going to tinker. He's always going to look around. He's going to try and find new ways to get better. I mean, you don't throw 12 pitches without doing a lot of stuff like that. But I think this is actually going to help. It's a harder offering from his cutter. It's like compared to his cutter, like the disparity is not as great now, so it's harder to pick up on. So I think it actually could pair really well with that. In addition to his fastball was up a little bit. The 4-seamer was up almost a full mile an hour. Now, again, that's a 2-inning sample, so who knows how much we actually see that during the season. But if his fastball is able to be closer to 92.5 on average, like it was on Monday, compared to where it is now, maybe it changes things a little bit for Seth and helps. And he talked about wanting to establish his fastball more early in counts and throw his fastball more. Now, I don't know if that necessarily takes away from the wide array of pitches, but if he's able to get ahead with his 4-seam and dominate with it, then it opens up the rest of your arsenal, and you're not having to lean on sinker, slider, sweep, and all those other pitches to get the job done for you if you're able to establish the fastball with strike one. The slurve was down. He only threw it a couple of times, and it was down almost 4 miles an hour. I don't know if that's by design or just the way it was popping out for him that day. Some of the breaking ball stuff, I don't concern myself with a ton of it, like especially when it comes to curveballs and things like that, because you're throwing outdoors in Arizona, thinner air. It's already kind of warm there, and so the ball flies. Ball doesn't spin as much. There's a reason why even at Chase Field to use a humidor just to make sure the balls are not being messed with the air in Arizona. So, totally fair. Like drier air, it's hot, like that sort of thing makes sense. So something to keep an eye on with Seth Lugo was just how much that slider does work for him. He threw it, he got 4 swings on it and all 4 whiffed. So clearly there was a little bit of a whoa. That's not on the scouting report. So how much is he going to be able to work it in his next outing? Which we may see him get one more before he goes off and throws for Team Puerto Rico. But that's also now a pitch to watch in the WBC when he does go to Team Puerto Rico, is how that slider plays in those bigger game type environments. Something to watch for. We got a couple other guys that we're going to hit on over the next little bit of this episode, but we do need a quick break.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Emprise, because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity, because you won't be disappointed and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
Sure to hit that like and subscribe button, everybody. I do appreciate everybody watching this, listening to this. If you are more on the YouTube side, thank you very much for helping me get to 1,000 subscribers on that channel. That's big time for us. It's a huge goal. Let's continue to keep it rolling and see how many we can get throughout the 2026 season. A lot of content coming your way. Let's talk about the guy that everyone wants to talk about in spring training this year, the guy that a lot of people have their eye on, and where he is at compared to what we saw during 2025, and that was Jac Caglianone. And on Tuesday, he hit a ball 460 feet, 150 mile an hour exit velo. I mean, it was a confident swing. It was a big time swing. It's the kind of stuff we saw from him in spring last year, kind of stuff we saw from him in the minor leagues a lot of last year. That just confident, I'm going to go, you're throwing me a fastball down the middle. Okay, I'm going to go hammer it. And he did. Now, there's still a lot for him to work on. And this is still a work in progress. His first at-bat of the year, and so much of the offseason conversation around Jac has been he's got to improve his swing decisions. He's got to improve, he's got a great feel to hit, but he's got to learn how to balance that with taking pitches on the outer half of the plate, taking pitches down, those strike to ball pitches that he talked about. So I wanted to see how he'd go in that first game, if there's just a little bit of jitters and whatever. And sure enough, he gets a hit. He hits a ball to the left side for a single, and hey, good for him. And then you look and realize that he chased a changeup about that far off the plate. And on the audio side, probably about a good 5-6 inches off the plate. And now he hit it, and his arms are so long, he can kind of get away with that. But that's not what you want to see, right? That's not the kind of thing we want to see from Jac. And even if you look at the bat that he had before he hit the home run, the pitch before was a cutter or a slider down and away, way down out, almost into the other batter's box, and he swung at it. Now he made up for it by thank you to the pitcher that was facing him that threw a fastball down the middle 0-2. Like, thanks, man. That's a gift. He hit it 460 feet. You're not going to get a lot of that, I'm sure, during the regular season, but you take advantage of mistakes. But it's that 0-1 pitch. It's like, man, he's throwing you that strike to ball pitch that you said you have to do a better job with. By swinging at that, you're just showing that there's still more to get to there. And those are 2 at-bats, or 2 plate appearances. He has walked. He's only struck out a couple of times. He has shown some good discipline in spots, and then you see it pop up every once in a while. All that to say, I'm not concerned. It's just that those sorts of things are still there, and we just need to continue to see him work out of them. It has been, I'm sure, something he has had great success with throughout his life, right? Like, you don't get to the big leagues without having an incredible field to hit and incredible power, which is how Jac has succeeded. But that's also come with the price of some really poor swing decisions and some really poor play discipline at times in trying to do damage with any pitch that comes across, and it doesn't matter where it is. But at the big league level, you got to break that habit. This was something in some capacity we saw with Bobby. I talked about that a lot last year, that Bobby's feel to hit was so good that he feels like he can hit anything. I think Jac feels very similarly, but you got to get more in the strike zone, take some of those pitches, and make pitchers come into you. And then once you're basically forcing the pitcher into the strike zone because you're not going to chase, and you're not going to chase that changeup down and away, you're not going to chase that slider into the other batter's box or that curveball straight down, then you're making them throw more fastballs in the strike zone, more sliders that it's got to nick the plate a little bit because he's not going to hit it, or he's not going to swing at it. That's when more damage can be done. So we'll see how he continues to adjust. And I think he's a really smart baseball player. He's self-aware. He talked about that last year, that he was not naive to the things that he struggled with, and these were things he needed to work on. So it's all there for him. And I hope that he continues to progress, and we'll see what he does with Team Italy and playing in some more high leverage games early. I do think there is some benefit there to him, that it's not just, all right, hey, a couple plate appearances here, a couple plate appearances there in Arizona, and we'll see where things go. Like, nope, you're trying to help your team win a world championship. We need you to be at your best right now. I think it could be a huge benefit to him if it works out. If not, if it doesn't work out, then it's like, okay, we really got some more work to do, and we'll see where it ends up. Josh Rojas, another guy that stood out over the beginning of spring training here over the last couple of days, couple home runs this week. One of them, a real Cactus League homer where he hit it up into the dry air in Phoenix and hit a homer. And then the other one was a straight up bomb. Like the no cheapie on that one. But a guy that is here on a non-roster invite and was pushing for one of those bench spots, and has certainly, I don't think he's necessarily taken hold of one, but he's inserting himself more and more into that conversation of a guy that could push for that. And he's, left-handed bat. They have a few of those that could potentially be in the minor leagues, or that could be on the bench, there alongside of Michael Massey. Carter is going to be there in some capacity, but I think he's going to end up starting more. Cam Meisner, Abraham Toro. There's a lot of guys that are kind of in that spot. And with some positional versatility like Rojas has, can play third, play second, play a little bit of outfield, mostly, left field. He has some experience there. That's the sort of thing that the Royals really like, is having guys that can, play a few different positions, no ego, going to play, they may not play every single day. I think he played in 69 games for the White Sox last year. I'm not going to act like it was pretty, because it certainly wasn't. It was 180, 252, 259. But if there are some things that Connor Dawson and Marcus Thames and Alex Zuma were able to work with him, maximize some of that pull side power. He's got a little bit. He's not anything crazy, but he has hit 11 home runs on the show in a big league season before. You're not asking him to play every single day. He's going to be a name to continue to watch. And if he pushes for one of those spots, then there's going to be decisions that need to be made elsewhere. And if he forces that decision, that's a good thing for this team. But he's a name to watch. He was a name that I had circled, not necessarily that I thought he was going to make the team, but that he certainly was going to put himself in the conversation to be on the big league roster. If not, probably end up in AAA and then come up when needed and be someone that this team might be able to, he might be of some benefit to them in May or June or whatever. And don't need him to be awesome for a full year, just be awesome for a couple of weeks and help the team move forward. Michael Massey's had a pretty decent start to spring here. And that's been, awesome to see, because I like Michael Massey a lot. Now it's seven at bats, 2 strikeouts to 1 walk, but it's a 429 average, 857 slug, with 1 home run and it was a big time home run too. It seems like he's re-engineered his swing, and Annie Rogers wrote a really interesting article about um like about his swing and how he worked with like pilots and like I think it was like aerospace engineers to figure out like how to maximize a swing and how his swing works and like very interesting. I'm not doing it justice, but definitely a guy that basically was like, hey, I got to go back to the drawing board because last season was really not good. And a lot of Michael Massey's problems, I think the player is good enough to be close to an everyday player in the big leagues, but he has been so injury plagued that I don't know if you can trust him for a full year, but I do think that the talent is there. It's a weird, kind of two thoughts at once sort of thing. But if he's able to re-engineer his swing and maximize with the power that he does, because he has some solid game and raw power for a second baseman. He's all in on the opportunity to play left field and second base, whatever gets him on the field. He wants to be a high level defender in the outfield. There's again, it goes back to the positional versatility thing. If he's able to make himself more available, maybe there are more opportunities that present themselves. And who knows what Jonathan India is going to be this year. There still maybe are some question marks about Isaac Collins. He had some PRP injections in his knees, which I don't like hearing that. They say that he's perfectly healthy and everything's fine, but not something I love to hear. So hopefully he's healthy and ready to go. He's only played in one game so far. There might be opportunities for Michael Massey with a big spring. And I think he is going to be on the opening day roster. Not a guy that plays every day. Certainly has to earn his opportunities. But, we'll see. And this feels different to me than like when you talk about a guy that's re-engineering a swing, it's almost like the last hope of a dying man. That was how it felt with MJ Melendez last year when he talked about coming into spring and tinkering with stuff in his new swing. It was very clear that it didn't work immediately. And there's a reason why he was out of the big leagues for after the beginning of May last year. It doesn't feel that way with Michael Massey. It feels like there's a little more to it than just trying to tinker with a couple of things. Like it seems like it was just an overhaul and kind of ripping things down to the studs and building it back up based on the way the article went. So we'll see what he's got. Like I said, I've been a huge Michael Massey fan since he was in the minor leagues, and I want him to succeed. And we'll see if it's available to him. I think there are still opportunities there, and we'll see if he's able to execute. On the pitching side, there was one kind of curious outing the other day, and that was Carlos Estevez. He made his first outing. He got knocked around, gave up a couple homers, gave a home run up to Eugenio Suarez, gave up a home run to Ellie De La Cruz. But when you go back and you look at the like the pitch chart and all that stuff, it was a whole bunch of sliders and a whole bunch of changeups. Felt like it was almost by design. Like, hey, I'm going to go up there and I'm just going to throw these and get this thing figured out, right? And the one fastball he threw was like 89. I think there may have been some fastballs that registered as changeups because, as Andy Rogers put it, he was like 86 to 89. A little weird, but this is just the way that he ramps up. He's not going out there and blowing 96, 97 to begin the year. So his fastball looks way down. The slider was way down. It's just, I think he was just working on some Beal stuff. Because he threw 22 pitches, 21 of them were slider and change. And this is where you have to take spring training results with a grain of salt because there are, especially on the pitching side, guys are working on stuff. Guys are trying to figure out, hey, I want to feel my slider and my changeup today. And that might have been what Carlos needed to work on. And so, yeah, it's easier when it's a 50-50 shot and a guy's not going to throw you a fastball. So it's one of those things. It was odd when you're looking at it and you're listening. You're like, man, he's getting peppered. But it was just slider change, and that was it. Before he goes off and he's going to represent the Dominican Republic in the WBC. So just another thing to watch there. Alex Lang pitched in the game on Monday. A bit of a tough outing. I had him on the outside looking in after, and I believe it was in that game on Monday. I'm going back and making sure that I have all of my days correct here. Threw a whole bunch of he loves his knuckle curve. He threw that 14 times out of 32 pitches. He got five swing and miss on it. So like the swing and miss is certainly there. Been maybe a bit of a nervy first outing. He's still coming back for some injury. Really got to show, can he trust his stuff? The velo was down a little bit from his career averages, but again, that could be just working up and ramping up, and we'll see as he continues to move with slightly diminished stuff not being fully ramped up yet. That's probably what you kind of get out of this capacity. Luinder Avila pitched on Monday as well. I really like his stuff. I want to see him. I really don't know what the Royals are going to do with him. And that's kind of one of the more curious things right now for me is he going to be a starter or is he going to be a reliever? They talk about him like he could be a frontline starter. They believe in that potential. But could he force his hand into the bullpen if the stuff is good enough in 1 to 2 inning spurts? And who knows if they need it? I think they might. It's certainly going to be an interesting conversation. I think they're going to give him one more opportunity to start games in Omaha. I'm not sure he makes the opening day roster, and he also has options. So I view this as, hey, let Luinder go, give him the opportunity to start. And if he's getting knocked around, it's just not working, the stuff isn't holding for 5-6 innings, then I think you make the move to the bullpen where he was very good at the end of last year and proved, hey, there's some big time stuff here. The curveball, he can spin the heck out of it. The fastball's got some life to it. Same with the sinker. And he's working on throwing a slider as well. And he's trying to throw that around 88 to 90. And if that's another weapon, certainly isn't going to hurt. And if that's able to really play up in some smaller spurts as well, it just adds to the arsenal. It gives a little bit of east-west to the north-south that his curveball shows. I really like the addition of that. He threw it once. So something clearly he's working on the side in bullpens, but a guy to continue to watch. And I do believe he's going to be a big part of the bullpen or part of the staff at some point this year. I think it's going to be more out of the bullpen, but if he does end up being a starter, I think that's a big win for this team too. But how much opportunity is he going to get as a starter? I don't know yet. A couple other pitchers that I have been intrigued by in small spurts. Mason Black, I think the stuff is interesting. An org depth piece that they traded for from the Giants, 5 strikeouts in 3 innings, no walks. Giving up a couple of hits, but the cutter, sweeper, he kind of manipulated fastball a little bit. A guy that probably is more of a bullpen arm, but going to be intriguing as a depth piece, someone that probably starts the year in Omaha and then comes up in spurts when they need him. But a guy that I do like and am curious about. Dennis Caglianone was a guy I really liked when the Royals drafted him a few years ago. The fastball can run up to triple digits. He's 96, 97 right now. And I mean, it's big time stuff. Just want to see him put it all together. But he had a good year. He had a fairly good year, if I remember correctly, from between, I think it was low A and high A. I don't think he got above high A, but I pitched in the fall league as well. It's just a matter of getting the ball over the plate for him. But last year, 72 strikeouts in 66 innings, 34 walks. That's the thing he's really got to work on. But when he went to the fall league, it was 11 strikeouts to 3 walks and 7 2/3 and a 1.17 ERA. Could be an arm that moves quickly. He got 1 outing in Double A at the end of last year. I think that's where he's going to end up starting. And he could be a name that pushes fast if he's able to really command the baseball. Because it is big-time back-end relief stuff. I look at him, LP Langevin, similarly. Now, LP got hurt last year, and so that made it a little bit more difficult for him to really get going, but he throws. I find his fastball fascinating as well, and he's not in big league camp, but another name that I am intrigued by and want to see him succeed. He had a bit of a tough fall league, a really hard time commanding the baseball. He had 17 walks in 15 innings in Quad Cities, and he walked 12 in 6 2/3. So just not healthy for the full year, and B, really hard time commanding the ball. But Caglianone, I think, is in a really good position to be a guy that could push for the big leagues in 26 if things go right. There's always those opportunities for big time bullpen arms to show up and show out and be a part of it going forward. You need so many throughout a big league season. I think that's really all I have so far that I've, we've yet to see Cole Reagans. We've yet to see Mitch Spence. We've yet to see, a couple of guys. Really, I want to see more of Isaac Collins. But we're getting to a point now with like Bobby, Michael, Salvi, Vinny, Jack. They're all about to go to the WBC. So there's going to be more opportunities for a lot of these young guys to show out. And even if they're not going to push for a big league spot this year, it's just an opportunity to show like what they can do and, put them on the radar for high A, double A, triple A. Hey, they might be able to help. Gavin Cross helped himself yesterday, 3-run homer. In a spot where the Royals are trying to rally, and even though the win-loss record doesn't mean anything, over the course of the season, the Royals won the Cactus League 2 years ago, and they lost 106 games, or 2-3 years ago. So it doesn't mean much, but I know for these guys, like they're not taking the bats off. They're not, they're not just slacking and moving on. Like these guys are really trying to get things done. So I, there's still a lot to like. It's a lot of baseball to watch. So be sure to check it out. Like I said, the Royals play the A's on Friday, and it will be the A's broadcast that will be available to watch. It's showing A's Cast, which to me, I'm running with. That's going to be a game that we can watch. And Bailey Falter is going to pitch that game. He's slated to start. So you'll be able to actually watch that game, make an MLB account. All the spring training games are free to watch. And then I believe the game on Saturday, which is against the Rockies, it is, and Seth Lugo is going to pitch the game against former Royal Michael Lorenzen. That game is on Rockies.tv, so it will be available to watch as well. Again, not a Royals broadcast, but will still be broadcasted to watch. We'll talk again next week. Again, once we got a little bit more, we'll have a bigger sample to talk about, potentially some more storylines, guys that have stood out thus far in spring training. As we get there, again, thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure to like, rate, subscribe, review, leave 5-star reviews on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate that. If you know people listen to the show and they're not subscribed on YouTube, make sure you get them over there as well if they like the visual element. Early next week, expect the Twins preview. I'll be recording that on Monday afternoon. Should come out Tuesday. And then middle of next week, we'll have an episode up talking on more spring training storyline stuff. So thank you guys very much, and we'll talk soon.